As a lot of you know, they're naming the Jim Dietz Rowing Center, Hart Perry Boathouse in Mystic, Connecticut. It's an honor for me, and I know it's an honor for Hart to be associated with this. It's a worthy thing, and it's more about the kids than Hart and I. I think I've been saying this for years. In the sport of rowing, it's all about paying it forward. And we have all benefited from the sport of rowing, whether we started when we were 15 or whether we started when we were 60. And I know I've coached people on both levels of that, but it's made us the people we are. And being able to pay it forward and get this program going, I think will speak to how much we love the sport and how much we want to pay it forward. Out of little programs like Stonington Rowing and Mystic, we'll have Olympians someday, and I think that's the goal. And the other goal is just to produce great citizens and people that know how to work hard and know how to work together. Uh, so I want to thank everybody for being on the call, and John Thornell, who runs the program, and they had a very successful weekend this weekend, winning a lot of races at the local state championships. I know for those of you guys that have been paying attention online this morning, the United States had a banner day at the Last Chance Regatta in Luzerne, Switzerland, and that's the epitome of the sport. We qualified the men's eight, the women's quad, the men's double, the men's single. For the first time in years, we have an American single sculler again. So this is all great stuff. But it starts with the high school program. So I'm going to turn it over to John right now.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks.
So I have some information to share with you all, and I have some images from our architect that is put together they're working on the boathouse project overall, the rowing center overall, but have some really stunning images that I can share with you to kind of give you a sense of what we have planned. Right now, we have the public high school rowing program in Stonington. This spring, we have about 60 rowers, and it's just a Stonington high school. It's a varsity sport in the spring. We have started rowing as Stonington Community Rowing in the fall, and then training in the winter as the future community rowing program. And that will be like other boathouses, other rowing programs that you may be aware of. And so we'll have other high school rowers, we'll have middle school rowers, we'll have masters rowers as well. So anybody that wants to row, we'll get them on the beautiful Mystic River, and we'll be able to help grow the sport through this rowing center. So super exciting. I'm currently the girls head coach at Stonington High School and Stonington Crew, and am the director of rowing for the future Stonington Community Rowing programs. Right now, though, I am volunteering to do the fundraising and a lot of the marketing. We're raising $2.5 million to build this center, and I'll go through this in a little bit more detail. So for those that maybe don't know where we are, this is Connecticut. I probably could have zoomed out a little bit more. Connecticut and Rhode Island, and we're in the southeastern corner of the state. And we have requests all the time from families that see our high school program and they want to join, but they can't, because we currently are rowing out of the Mystic Seaport. Our program has been around for 25 years. And the Seaport that entire time has given us dock space, but they're growing, and our dock space seems to get less and less every year. But they've been super kind to us. But we really need to have a rowing center to be able to accommodate more people and even our growing team. So it's great to have this in the works within a 10-mile radius, which is this first kind of circle you see here. There's really not much there, but there's a great number of communities in here, from all the way over to New London, Montville, Norwich, going into Rhode Island, into Westerly, Rhode Island. we've had interest from families all in that area to have adults and other high school kids row. So there's interest, there's demand. All the time, our rowers are asking, well, where else can I row? The closest thing is Blood Street Sculls in Old Lyme. Fantastic program, but it's a lot for families to go 30, 35 minutes, every day down and back. So there's really not much in our area. And you can see some of the others going up to Hartford or all the way up into Providence with Narragansett Boat Club. There's not a lot available. So this is really going to serve quite a few people in our corner well, actually, our corner of New England. This is a image of the property. It almost looks the same today. We actually, our high school crew team, as you can see, an 8 out there, it looks like, or maybe yeah. We're using this building here to store our equipment temporarily until construction starts. But this is the property. The town bought this in 2016, and it will be the future home of the Jim Dietz Rowing Center. And it's right at the end of on the Mystic River, right at the end of the channel. So going north is to the left, and we've got probably from this point, maybe nice 1,500 meters that we could cover. And then we have a little bit more to the south, so we could easily get maybe 2,000, a little over 2,000 meters. And then we can even go downtown Mystic and out into Long Island Sound. We'll row out to Noank quite a few times if it's calm and there's not a lot of boat traffic. And that could be from this point, could be another 6K out and 6K back. So
Nice,
great.
nice rows out to the lighthouse and
Yep. Yep.
Abbott's Clam House. John, I just
Yeah.
wanted to point out the brick building in the background.
Yeah.
Now, that building was a felt factory that was built in the 1800s. All right. And the land is actually brownfield land, which was the ash that came out uh,
Yeah. From the factory.
from the factory. All right. And the building there is a building that we are being charged with preserving. That was one of the buildings that, like, one of the foremen at the factory would use. But that building today is owned by the Mystic Seaport Museum. They've just put $2 million into the roof, and that's going to have a very large rowing collection within it. The boats from the National Rowing Foundation are in there, and other historic boats. The 1871 six-oared shell that was raced by the University of Massachusetts Aggies against Harvard and Brown
Yep.
back
Yep.
in 1871. So we've got some great neighbors there. And as John was saying, the seaport has embraced the rowing there, allowing them to row off of their property. It's a perfect fit to have great neighbors like that, and it's going to make it a special place uh, to row out of. John, some of the other projects that are going to go out there, as far as the environmentalists going across the river and stuff, can you touch on that?
Yeah. So if you we'll go to the next one here. So this is a rendering of the park itself, and we will have, in addition to our boathouse and rowing docks that you can see here, we'll have a public access, not really a boat ramp, but it'll be like a public dock and some kind of a way to get in closer to that dock. But the idea is you can car top your non-motorized boats. You can car top a kayak or paddleboard, and you can launch here. And there's only a couple places on the Mystic River that we can do that today. All of it is privately owned. So this will be a great resource for the community. The town of Stonington is also interested in having more recreational programs. So now that they have water access, or they will have water access, that just opens up a whole bunch of ideas and activities that they can offer the community. And then a couple blocks to the left of this park is a nature center, and they have property that's inland, which is kind of up above the screen here. And they already have tons of educational programs for youth and for adults and different activities. But they also have a property called Coogan Farm, which is nearby. And their vision is to have a greenway, and they have a nice, beautiful trail network that comes all the way down to Coogan Farm, and as I said, is just a couple of blocks away from where we are. And they also own property on the other side of the river, or they manage property on the other side of the river. So conceivably, their idea is that you'll have a day of hiking, a little bit of kayaking to cross the Mystic River, and then you can get to this park on the other side that has beautiful views of the Mystic River. And this park enables that trail network to all connect, even with a little bit of kayaking, a little paddling in between the hiking. So there's a lot of other non-rowing activities that this resource or this park will allow other partners that we have to work with. The other, Jim mentioned too, the right across the street, that brick building, the Mystic Seaport is putting in a lot of money into developing a watercraft hall, and it's interesting to watch that they're trying to create more experiences for people. Everything has a story. People that I know, work there tell me everything has a story, and they try and bring those stories to life, and they make it more of an experiential type of a visit for people. And one of the things that they were talking with us about is how can we make the experience of rowing? Jim mentioned having a rowing exhibition, but how can we get people to experience rowing and really appreciate it? So we're working with them on some ideas of having some very mini, kind of mini rowing programs. Jim, your idea was to put like a rowing frame on the dock, so people could almost like a makeshift rowing tank, so people could take a couple of strokes and kind of get a feel of matching another rower and what it feels like to load up the oar and so on. So we have all those partners: the town of Stonington, the Mystic Seaport, the Nature Center. Really, a lot of people are interested in working with us in making this a really, really valuable asset for all of the community. For us, certainly with our rowing center here, the boathouse, we would launch on this side. And we have, as I mentioned, all of that Mystic River to row on. So it'll be terrific. The house that Jim mentioned is actually kind of where the parking lot is now. So that house is going to move north, and that house we'll use that for a meeting area. So athletes can wait before and after practice and be indoors out of the elements. We'll have a changing rooms in there as well. And upstairs we'll have coaches' offices, and we'll have storage. The boathouse itself, downstairs is going to be two-bay boathouse. Upstairs is just all training center. So we initially had a lot of the things that are in the house were going to be in the rowing center, or in the boathouse, but the state required us, as Jim said, to keep the house. So we're going to use the house, but it gives us a bit more room for the activities that we have planned with rowing. And the other thing too with this is the upstairs, we can use this for other activities. It's 4,500 square feet. So we could have small corporate retreats. Jim's talked about having some coaching clinics there. So there's a lot of things that we could use in the downtime, when it's not being used for rowing. The rowing center itself, this is a view from the water. So the house that I mentioned that has the common area and changing rooms and everything. This is actually a glass hallway, and the state made that a requirement as well, because they wanted the historical building to be separate from the new boathouse. And this is a subtle way to kind of do that. And I'll talk specifically about that in just a minute. But the boathouse itself, as I mentioned, two bays downstairs, training center upstairs, beautiful balcony overlooking the river, which is behind us as we're standing here facing the backside of the rowing center. Upstairs, the training center, the balcony is out here. You can see that would look out onto the Mystic River, and sliding doors way down there. So lots of ventilation for rowers working out. We'll not have the white trim here. It's going to be all natural wood, and it'll be a post and beam. And these are kind of funky rowing machines, but I think you get the idea what they are. They're supposed to be ergs. And again, the ergs and everything, we can just move those to the other end of the training center upstairs, and we can have small events up here. And as I mentioned before, corporate events or other things. Somebody wanted to do, some kind of a fitness class or something, we can do that as well. There's also a beautiful hotel going in next door, and the developer there asked if they could use this as kind of their hotel training or fitness center. So we agreed to that, and we're going to be working with them on that as well. So this will be open to the public a little more broadly than just for rowers. This is the trophy room that I mentioned. This is the glass hallway. The house is behind these two gentlemen pictured here, or to their right. And then behind us, or I guess you could say to the left, is the boathouse. But this connects the two structures. This will also be the main entrance. You'll see in other pictures there is a front door in the house. That front door works today, but it's not going to work in the future. It's it's not going to work in the future. It's just a facade, but the main entrance will be in this hallway here. And this glass hyphen is what we're going to use as our trophy room. We have memorabilia from Hart Perry. Jim is gonna load us up with some interesting things that he can share, so we can remember these two great gentlemen who had so much of an impact in the sport. Uh, so overall, where we are, it's been fantastic to work with the town of Stonington. They've been a really good partner in this. Overall, with the town is developing the park, and we're developing the rowing center, and then we will give the rowing center, after raising the 2.5 million, we'll give that to the town. And in exchange, we get a renewable 25-year lease. So overall, if we put this whole project together, it's over $6 million, but we've made a lot of progress, and we're getting very, very close. We should have shovels in the ground, as they say, this fall. The town hired a construction management firm to look at the schedule, to re-quote everything and get up-to-date pricing. And from that, which should come out in like another week or so, from that, we'll have a really clear idea of the timeline. But right now, it looks like the fall will be when we start work on the park. So the town will start to they'll remove the shed that's on the property. We'll start to level the ground and cap it with fresh soil. We're going to actually raise it up 3 or 4 feet, I think it is. So it'll be safe for the public. There is coal slag and other materials there, so it'll be safe for the public. And then we will start the foundation for the house and the boathouse, and the house is going to move right onto the foundation. And the post and beam boathouse is pre-engineered. So we'll get materials earlier, very soon actually, and we'll have that milled and have that all ready to go. Astonishingly, that boathouse can go up in 3 to 4 weeks just because it's all pre-engineered. So on our part, we've raised in hard dollars. This is our part of this with the capital campaign for the $2.5 million boathouse. We've raised 1.6. That's funds that have been received, as well as pledges that we have. We've also got other commitments and people that are interested in supporting the project, and that brings us up to about 1.8 million, I'd say, right now. So we've made a lot of progress, but right now is full court press, because we're going to be starting in the fall with construction. So we're pretty excited.
With
Uh,
inflation and everything, it's even more important to start ponying up now.
yeah,
Uh, this is something that just didn't come about. This has been worked on for a good 10 years. I mean, you have to appreciate the lawyers and everything that have been involved with getting this thing on the ground,
yeah,
and to this point, and we're very close right now. So
yeah,
it's going to happen.
yeah. And the town has two grants. You can see there's two spaces here that there's about $500,000. That will get tightened up when the construction management firm gets all the quotes back from other contractors and things like that. But they are looking at two grants. One of them is a contingency grant. It's a follow-on from the $750,000 grant that they got August a couple of years ago. And so there's a contingency built in there, and they should be getting around $300,000, maybe a little bit more. So they're very close in their fundraising. We're very close in our fundraising. So it's a really exciting time. It like you said, Jim, it's been a long time coming. The initial boathouse design wasn't received well, so we had to go back to the drawing board. COVID came. We worked with the state on moving, deciding what to do with the house that's currently on the property. So it's had some challenges. Complex projects like this always do, but we're nearing the end, and it's a really exciting time.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So
Good stuff.
one of the things with all these projects, we have naming rights and all kinds of things that we can do with people, and we have had people that have taken naming rights for an eights rack or a coach's office, the common room, and getting to know Jim over the last couple of years, and I know he's got no shortage of quotes and words of wisdom and inspirational comments for people. Kind of gave me an idea to have a separate campaign for Jim, to recognize Jim, but to also inspire those who are working out, and training hard in our new rowing center. And it's to take quotes like this one here that he has. By the way, these are my varsity 8 girls that are out in the Sound. Noank, you can see the lighthouse that Jim was talking about is way out here. So it's a beautiful stretch, but this was just a stunning day this season. And so the idea was to raise $100,000 as a naming rights campaign for these Jim Dietz quotes, and we can have these plaques, these words of wisdom in either the training center or that trophy room that I mentioned. Another idea was to have them etched in glass so they could hang in that trophy room, and people can still see, the river and everything. But it would be a great way to kind of, as I mentioned, recognize Jim, but then also have some inspiration for people there who are trying to do their best and reach their potential.
All righty. So that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Uh, Again, it's not so much about me and hard, it's about paying it forward. And out of a small acorn like this, a lot of good can happen for everybody involved. And really looking forward to seeing it, put together. When we do open up, it's going to be a big Scullers weekend, and we're going to try to get everybody who's ever sculled with us at the seaport and take a nice row around before we have a great party. Uh, so,
You want to talk about the reviving the battle between the bridges?
well, the Battle of the Bridges is something that Hart and I were doing to raise money for the U.S. national team, where we would bring our top athletes to Mystic, race them off in 500-meter dashes in a progression similar to the English Henley, but with a winner and a losers bracket. So everybody gets a couple of races, and it was a great fundraiser. Hart and I had a great time running it, and we got a lot of people in the area who were not rowers who really got into it and helped support us. So we want to have that happening along with the Demers Hotel that John mentioned that's going up next door. We hope to bring back the Coastal Weeks Regatta so we can have a head race in the fall. And again, just bring rowing to this beautiful area. And it is a beautiful area. I
Mm,
scull there all the time.
yeah.
Next, where Mid-Coast Maine begins. An expansive preserve, putting the trees.
So
Good,
does
good, good. So you want to wrap up here, John?
Well, just wondering if anyone had any questions for you or any comments. If anyone is interested in supporting the project, of course, our address is here. We are taking online donations at stoningtocommunityrowing.org. But anything of larger value, can be mailed in just to save on PayPal fees. Or, people can talk with me as well about different ideas. But yeah, maybe we could open it up and see if anyone has any questions for you, Jim.
Sure.
Just like playing a video game, but in real life.
somebody has
I
to.
think Joe's watching Dialing for Dollars or something.
Yeah.
Feelings, fresh air, freedom. Call 1-800-JUMP.
Back in 1960, Wegner started as a
I'm
produce
gonna try and
company
mute it. I don't
Yeah.
think he even knows that.
to high standards.
I
That
think
worked.
that's a beautiful design.
Isn't that
Boathouse.
great,
Okay.
Greg? I mean, you look at it,
Yeah.
I mean, this is what the Mystic wanted, they wanted the old rustic look, and I think it's a great look, very
Yeah.
practical. We're going to be able to get a lot of boats in there, get a lot of kids in there, and it's just the most incredibly beautiful area, so it's going to mean a lot to everybody, and it'll help the sport tremendously.
We'll have Stonington will have its home races here. Currently, we have within the Connecticut Public Schools Rowing Association, year to year we'll have maybe 4 races or so, maybe 5 at home. But there's also the club side of this. So Stonington High School will continue to row in the spring as Stonington High School, but all the other rowers will row as Stonington Community Rowing. And
Mhm.
I know Riverfront up in Hartford wants to have races with us. Norwalk wants to have races with us. So there's other clubs in the area that would, we would be able to provide smaller regattas for them as well. And I know, so we'll have in the spring, we'll have both the varsity sport running at the same time as the community program. And then in the fall, we'll row as we have started to do is Stonington Community Rowing. And the winter we train as Stonington Community Rowing. In the summer right now, I just have a very small sculling program. So I just, take kids out and give them something different to do, help them learn sculling. It's a beautiful summer, to row. It's beautiful to row in summer. And they learn a tremendous amount. The single, Jim has said a bunch of times, is a great coach. And so it's fun. But when this is built, we will have a full-on summer program. So we can go to competitive races in the area. We can go to U.S. Rowing National Championships and things like that. So it's going to, right now, like I said, we have maybe 60 rowers in one season. So maybe 100 or so. So I think within the first year, we'll more than double. And then by the 5th year, we'll triple in size. We'll have many more people.
Joe May had the question as to how big of an area is there for boat trailers. And Joe, that would be behind the Mystic Seaport Museum there. They have tremendous parking lots back there, and they're going to be a partner here in allowing us to bring boats into that area.
Yeah, so we have right on the site, we have the 14 spots here. So you could drop off your kayak or whatever and park here, or as Jim said, behind the seaport, this building here is the brick building that we saw earlier in the picture. Behind that is I want to say maybe 24 or 30 spots. For a trailer, this parking lot was designed especially wide to allow trailers from visiting teams to come in. So they could come in, unload, and use all of this for rigging, and then they would take their trailer and go across the street. So if we have two teams or 3 teams coming in, that's how we would manage that. It's a good question,
Mm-hmm.
but it's been thought about. Thinking big, yeah. Good.
The
Any other
land itself
questions?
is going to be beautiful, the way it's going to be manicured. I mean, a lot's going to go into, the living seaport that's around it, which is really going to draw people into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Any other questions or comments, anything?
Well, wrapping up, I want to thank everybody, and I hope to see a lot of my All-American Scullers on the water, this summer, and at all the fall head races. So if you're on your way up to Boston, stop by Mystic and look at the area. You'll
Yeah.
just love it.
You have my contact info. I'll give you a quick tour. It's a beautiful spot. Oh, one more question. Thank you, Melissa. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. Well, good night, everybody, and thanks for tuning in here tonight.
Right. Thanks, Jim.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Take care.